This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. One of the things that I do to get my content, because it's very easy to find content when you cover the topics that I cover because it's everywhere. You don't have to look very far. But I always make sure I check once a week what's trending on YouTube. I check to see what type of propaganda they're pushing down the minds of the youth. Because really the young people out there are the ones that go into the YouTube trending section. Of course, nothing in there is organically trending. This is all stuff that's being forced onto the children, but they tell you that it's trending because it's popular, because then the kids actually will believe that it's popular and they'll say, why is it so popular? That sounds cool. Let me check it out. If they realize that the state and the government was controlling it and then forcing it down their throats, well, they would have completely different mindsets. So one of the things I do is check. And of course, trending number 33 on YouTube, surprise, surprise, the number 33, is a new movie called Nightb. Let's just leave it at that. And, the algorithm doesn't love cursing, believe it or not, but you can put a lot of other depravity up here on YouTube. So it's called Nightb. And you might say, Nightb, what's it about? That's a weird photo on the screen. It looks like a grown woman who's eating raw meat, because, of course, that's not trying to promote the eating of meat in our society. They wouldn't be promoting the film. Of course, they're playing at undertones of one of their very favorite things that they're trying to normalize, which is cannibalism. And before I get into the plot, let me just tell you real quick that this book was written in 2021 by an American writer named Rachel Yoder. And of course, you could see, now, if you want to become rich and famous, and you want to write a novel, let me just give you a little advice out there. Yes, you need to be a part of these secret societies. Absolutely. You need to push all the same communist ideologies. And that's exactly what we see in this film. Because, of course, the plot of the book and the plot of the film is that there's a frustrated stay-at-home mother of a 2-year-old who becomes concerned that she's turning into a dog. And some of the little taglines in the film are things like, "Mom stuck at home." Because remember, with these witches who are overtaking our society and being propped up on a pedestal, they want to absolutely mock and ridicule women who find value in being an actual mom, staying home and raising their child. They try to shame you into it. Part of the plot is how she wants to get back to work, and unfortunately she's stuck at home raising a child, even though the real reason we were all put on earth really was probably to procreate. And a lot of women, if not all women who end up having children, actually find fulfillment in having children. If you talk to them, they felt like they weren't fulfilled until they actually had kids. But they don't want you to think like that, because they don't want to increase the population, and they certainly don't want moms raising their children at home. They want your children raised in the institution. So if you do happen to get pregnant and have kids, make sure you ship them off to the institution so that they can learn about lies, fake history, fake moon landings, all that stuff. So the kids grow up in an alternate reality, believing in nothing but lies. Then it's almost impossible to wake them up to what's really going on. You see, what you need to do, again, to become famous and produce and write a book in 2021, and then somehow in 3 years have Hollywood actually make a movie about it starring Amy Adams, who's pretty famous, well, you just need to write pure filth, pure communist propaganda, shame women who are mothers, and then, of course, push ideologies in the movie about moms needing to get back to work, because that's what they're really put here to do, is to go sit at a cubicle somewhere, while at the same time promoting cannibalism. So Rachel Yoder, I'm going to show you after I play the trailer for you, all the stuff out in the open on the Instagram page, because you can always see who these people are affiliated with. And again, when they're promoted on YouTube or anywhere, and Hollywood makes a movie about it, you know that they're one of them. They could write the biggest turd possible and call it a novel and tell you that it's popular, and then just like, oh, they tell a friend, they tell two friends. All people need to hear is, oh, it's popular, it's trending. So-and-so recommended the book, because they don't know how to think freely. They're little communist puppets. So let me play the trailer for Nightb, and you can see what I'm talking about for yourself. Somehow this was made into a movie. It could, this is the type of thing if somebody came to you with this script and one of your friends, you'd be like, oh, that's really cute. Oh yeah, maybe it could become a movie. And when they left, you would just your eyes would fall out of your head, and you'd say, you won't believe this. You'd call your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, mom, dad. You'd say, oh man, maybe we should get them help. Or it's pretty sad. you know? They think that they're going to make it in Hollywood or write a book and people are going to read this. Because literally the plot is about a woman who has a kid who's turning into a dog. And somehow Hollywood made this dog bleep. Look at it.
Do you just love getting to be home with them all the time?
Yeah, I do. I love it. You're an artist, right?
Well, I used to be.
Wow.
That feels like a lifetime ago. So
Yeah,
literally,
definitely.
we get it.
But if this family can clean their own butts,
For what it's worth, I would kill to stay home with them every day.
I just feel off. Look at my teeth. See how sharp they are?
It's a little bit weird.
Mother connects you to some primal urges.
I feel like I'm stuck.
Make up a plan, draw up a schedule. Happiness is choice.
Happy or thin. Ever again.
oh, and I'm pretty sure I'm turning into a dog.
I feel like the big secret is that we are gods. We can create life. I am a woman. I am an animal.
If you listened closely in that trailer, you probably heard the main character say that the big secret is that we are gods. And that's not a surprise, as I'll show you in a few minutes when I show you the person who wrote this book, who's clearly in a coven, who's a member of secret societies, highly likely Eastern Star, which are the Freemasonry of witches. But the big secret is that we are gods. And of course, this is what is taught in Freemasonry and in secret societies. They believe that they are gods. It goes back to the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 22. And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil, and know, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. And that's the reason 322, that Skull and Bones, the secret society at Yale, uses the number 322. This is the common motto of Freemasons, Satanists, witches, secret societies, is that they believe that they are gods. And they truly believe that. That's the big secret that they learn throughout Freemasonry. Eventually, it is revealed to them that the God for them to worship, even though they are gods among us, is in fact Lucifer, who has made them as gods among us. So, you may have also heard in the background Stevie Nicks' music playing, right? Just like the white-winged dove. Stevie Nicks, one of the biggest witches walking the face of the earth. Stevie Nicks openly admits to being a witch. Stevie Nicks does not hide the fact that Stevie Nicks is a witch. So let's get into some of the other stuff in the trailer. First of all, that's how you know, right? When you see a trailer like that, how does a movie like that even get made? It's a horrible plot. And I'm not saying that anybody out there would see that plot. Even the zombies in the comment section are like, wow, Amy Adams really jumping in the pool here, taking free money to be in this bomb, because it's a bomb. I mean, it's something that nobody would ever really make unless, of course, they were using it for mind control, because that's what they do. Every film that gets produced in Hollywood now 100% has the same ideologies, which is why many normal people are having a tough time watching any of this filth. But they're not going to take their foot off the pedal, because they know that the more they keep going, the more that they're going to brainwash a lot of these Dems, and they're going to push this onto their kids, as we see going on. And they're making little communist foot soldiers, and it just continues and continues and continues as they criminalize people who speak against global communism. So you saw the other underlying theme, which is the cannibalism. Now, they're not flat out saying cannibalism, but you could clearly see it. We saw the same themes in Santa Clarita Diet when I covered it, right? Drew Barrymore going to the grocery store, getting raw meat and eating raw beef and raw this and raw that, right? Eventually leading to what? Becoming an actual cannibal, right? And let me read you, before I show you what was on the Instagram account of the author, which you have to see, so stick around for a minute. Let me just read you this article about this paragraph about Rachel Yoder and the novel. In the opening pages of Rachel Yoder's novel, an anonymous middle-class mom in an anonymous American town finds a patch of coarse hair on the nape of her neck. She examines her teeth and finds they're sharper, more pointed. A lump is growing at the base of her spine, like a vestigial tail. She does what we would all do. She Googles, quote, she searched humans with dog teeth on her phone. Search, do humans and dogs share a common ancestor? Search human-animal hybrid. and recessive animal genes in humans and research human animal genes legacy history. And then because she wanted to, searched rest cures and the yellow wallpaper, which she had once read in college, then stared blankly for a while, had nothing in particular while sitting on the toilet, then stopped searching altogether. And I read that paragraph because of words like human, animal, hybrid, right? Because the theme here is mixing genetics, right? Human, animal, genes, legacy, history. So take that and then go over to the Instagram account, because all these witches and Satanists always reveal themselves through signs and symbols and photos. So anytime I do one of the video like this, I can always count on these Satanists and these witches to have non-private Instagram accounts because, well, they're narcissists, right? So they always put this stuff out in the open because they know the dumbed down sheeple will think that it's a conspiracy because they've been trained to think it. And they know they can get away with this out in the open because they know that the laws and the rules in society now are set up to protect witches and Satanists. So we have the author here. Here's a photo of her holding up a stone right over her eye, right? Is this a coincidence with all the celebrities in Hollywood that do the one eye symbolism? Always holding up something over their eye playing peekaboo. The eyeball on the back of the dollar bill, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, right? The eye of providence, the technical term, but it's really the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. Is this just random? Is this what you guys do? I mean, I don't have social media accounts, but does anybody else out there have accounts? Are you posting pictures like this up? I mean, why is it just these people? Then we continue to connect the dots and we can see an obsession with eyeballs, right? Holding up what looks like a nickel or a quarter and has an eyeball on it. Just put a little googly eye on there, that one eye symbolism, right? Not two eyes. You know, the nickel wasn't privy to have two eyes, just specifically one, right? Then as you go through it, it gets funnier because the reason I read that whole paragraph about the human hybrid, well, it starts to tie in a little bit here, right? So, of course, she shows pictures with her husband, and you can look at these people and you know their politics. It's amazing you can look at them and you know how they vote, what their beliefs are, right? This is right at the top of the Instagram account. As I scroll through, you'll see all this stuff, including having signs in their lawn of Black Lives Matters and all these communist things that the government's pushed. So you look at them and then you look at the guy and you go, okay, wait a minute. Is he playing? What team is he playing for? Is he batting for San Francisco? Is he a switch hitter? I mean, it's very clear, right? And then we move in and we see him in his home taking a picture, of course, kind of doing one eye symbolism. But what's important to note is he's got a mask over his face. Yeah, inside of his home. I don't care what time period it was or what was going on in the world. He's wearing one in his house, right? Then there's a picture of the husband wearing a Microsoft shirt, right? So you're starting to connect the dots. He's wearing a Microsoft shirt. I guess he's a fan of Bill Gates, right? I guess, you know, all-seeing eye, Microsoft, wearing a mask at home. And then there's this post with this book called God Spare the Girls. And she's talking about how everyone needs to buy this book. And if you look up at the top there, there's a little pin. What does that pin say? It says, I got mine. That's what it says. I got mine. I got my nano inside of me. Did you get yours, right? So very interesting, right, as we continue to move along here, because we see that they always are promoting this stuff. So you can connect the dots with human hybrids being promoted. Of course, these people are, you know, all of the same people always promoting this stuff, always deliberately putting something out there if they have an audience. And it's not like she has a huge audience, but she has an audience based on the book and based on Hollywood promoting or making a movie out of her book. And of course, you know, that they put, you know, her book on reading lists, bestseller lists, and that's all done by design to get these suckers to go and read it because they go, oh, it's on a bestseller list. So they go, oh, I got to read it. Then it's on a bestseller list. It must be really, really good. They aren't thinking for themselves, obviously. They've already decided it's a good book for the most part because they've been told it's a good book. That's how it all works, right? You're told the movie's a flop and a bomb. Before you even watch the movie, you'll say it's a flop and a bomb, and you'll probably laugh at it, okay? They tell you Star Wars is the greatest movie ever made. You ever watch it? You ever sit through 5 minutes of that nerd fest? It's one of the worst movies ever made. Ever. It is awful. And they tell you if you don't watch it, there's something wrong with you, right? So anyway, you notice the pin. And then, of course, that book, God Spare the Girls. Never heard of it, but I just did a quick search because I said, well, it's definitely not something promoting the Bible. And of course it's not. So of course she's promoting because these are all witches. It says a mesmerizing debut novel set in northern Texas. Another coincidence that this person has a book and called God Spare the Girls, and this other person has a book. They just wrote books. They're prominent authors immediately, right out of the gates, right? Well, when a plot like this with their debut novel says, two sisters who discover an unsettling secret about their father, who's the head pastor of an evangelical megachurch that upends their lives and community, right? So let me guess. Let me guess, the father's involved with some criminal activity, probably involved with something with children, right? Because remember how they invert stuff. They constantly want everybody out there to think that the church, because the church, who is not really even Christian or followers of Christ, I'm talking about the Vatican itself and all these popes and guys in the church who come out and get exposed, they want you to think all Christians should be associated with them. So the same Christians yelling about this and that with children, oh, look, they're the ones doing it, right? Because they don't want you to ever think that it's about more than that with these Satanists and witches. It's actually about rituals that involve a red liquid. So as I continued, I have to show you this. I have to be discreet with what I say here, but there's just a piece of pizza, right? A post. And I've always talked about this when they show you these types of things, okay? If you're actually awake and you're consciously thinking this is what they do and how they reveal themselves, what normal person, just look at yourself. Do you go out? Do you take a photograph of pizza? When you're eating your pizza, before you eat it, do you take a picture and want the world to see it and share it? With really no premise to the photo at all, other than just, here's a picture of pizza, right? And then I had a little arrow next to it, so I was like, all right, well, what's next to the piece of pizza? And next to the piece of pizza was, I'm assuming, her child. And what's the child doing? He's eating a hot dog. So you have pizza, you have hot dog, and then the next picture, if you click the arrow over, all put in the same post, is the child eating ice cream, right? So these are all things that we know about that are codes. Ice cream, hot dogs, pizza, and of course their own child showing these pictures, right? But they're just being cutesy. This is just art. She was like, hey, hold up a picture of the ice cream because all my fans want to see you holding up ice cream. And then later, hold up a picture of the hot dog, and then I'm going to post a picture of pizza. And on top of that, here's the icing on the cake. Here's a photograph of him at the table. But she made sure she didn't just take a picture right next to him at the table, right? She had to get out of the booth so she could stand and take this picture and make sure that everybody could see the floor, right? Because that's what it's about. You know, the checkerboard floor, the Masonic secret society, checkerboard floor, duality, as above, so below. This floor is symbolic to the occult. All these witches and Satanists always reveal this. They have an obsession with it, but they don't think that you can think. And they're right in a lot of ways. Most people can't think because they're under a spell because of what these witches and Satanists are doing. So when you see the kid, right, piece of pizza, eating a hot dog, eating ice cream, right, all in the same exact shot, then, of course, you see the kid in the same shirt. He's sitting there, right? And she could have said, hey, I'm just going to take a picture while we're right next to each other. No. And she didn't just take a picture, stand up to take this photo. She made sure she was standing on something so that you could see the floor. That's the point that I'm making. And then in addition to that, you just see it over and over again, right? See a picture of the kid, outside. He's walking down the street. She made sure to pose him right in front of this black and white checkerboard floor because, well, nobody out there is smart enough to notice this stuff because they've been trained not to see these things, right? And this is how they communicate with each other. Always the black and white checkerboard floor. And if you continue to go through, you even see unicorn crossing. Again, unicorn, another part of this movement, part of this trend. You see how they push the unicorn down everybody's throat, along with the Black Lives Matter sign right in the front lawn, right? I don't know if that's out there to tell people, hey, mischief night, looking for a bullseye? I don't know. Or maybe it's, but isn't it incredible when you look at all the same ideologies, how they've taken human beings and they're literally, instead of like going and voting, right? And just being like, yeah, I'm going to vote for this guy versus this guy. I think I could trust this guy more, blah, 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 right? Affiliated with your party. And then you know all the ideologies to a T, right? Black Lives Matter, the unicorn stuff. Of course, they've got the potion in them, right? Weird pictures, always weird, strange pictures that these celebrities, or, she's not a celebrity, but that these people post who have a connection to Hollywood or connection to, writing a book that's getting made into a Hollywood movie. So then we know right there that there's a connection. Right? Just posting a picture of pizza, posting a rock over the eye, putting a googly eye on a nickel, and then taking a picture and putting it online. But that's art, ladies and gentlemen. That's supposedly art. Because you sit at home, right? And even if you're somebody with social media, you sit at home and you're like, I'm going to get a nickel out and I'm going to put a googly eye on it because that makes sense. So clearly there's a message behind it because there's a message behind this stuff, but people think everything happening is at random. That's part of the reason that we're in the predicament that we're in. So the book is called, and the movie is called Nightb. It's being promoted by YouTube, of course. Somehow this woman wrote a book in 2021. It's already made into a Hollywood film starring a pretty famous actress in Amy Adams, or actor, won't go down that road, right? Already made into one. And then as soon as I see that, right, I see the trailer and I say, okay, here we go again. This is more of the same stuff, but I'll make a video about it because the undertones of cannibalism and, of course, shaming of mothers. That's what they love to do. This is all... if you watch 1950s communist propaganda, which I've shown over the years, you will see that it's the same stuff. The shaming of moms, the removal of kid from the home, let the state raise the kid. That's what it is, right? So they're using different tactics now because of the technology they have now. So every film that you think has nothing to do with anything, it doesn't have anything to do with communist propaganda, it's a film with Amy Adams turning into a dog. They lay down the same framework in all of them, right? You're a mom? Oh, that's horrible. You don't want to be a mom. All right? How many of these movies is the theme where they have kids and they're like, oh, it's the worst. Now, I don't have kids, okay? But I understand how communist propaganda works. So when I see this, right, I'm saying, wow, this is clearly them telling you not to have kids. But people out there with kids probably would disagree, most of them. Probably most of them, unless they're really into their own lives. Because people out there who have kids that I've seen are into their kids and they love their kids and they're thankful that they've had kids. And as much as they, when they were single, they might miss moments, not single, but, before they had kids, might miss moments of being able to be freer and go do these things. They're a lot happier with the kids, but they don't want you to think like that because, again, they could depopulate this way. And if you are to have a kid, they want to make sure to tell you through movies like this, hey, you should be at work. It's more fun. You're enslaved with your kid, your 2-year-old. Get out of there. Get out into a cubicle. Pretend like what you're doing matters so we can have your kid and we can raise your child, right? So when I see that, I do a video and I say, you know what? This is based on a book, I'm assuming, right? Of course it's based on, okay, it's based on a book. Then I say, well, who wrote the book? Oh, never heard of the person. Let me just go through their Instagram account. And then you just see them holding up rocks over their eyes, pizza pictures, black and white Masonic checkerboard floor. You see the husband masking up at home. He's a good soldier, right? Good soldier. Of course, even subliminally taking shots at Christians by promoting Christian novels that they want promoted that, of course, make the youth look at all of us, look at Christians as if Christians are hypocrites and Christians do this and they live a different way and God's not real. And then, of course, right above the book has the pin to tell you, hey, go get yours. I did my part. Go be a communist foot soldier while I show my kid eating pizza, hot dogs, and ice cream, and you don't know what I'm even doing, right? And don't forget about my sign in my front lawn. Might as well be a bullseye. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the world that we're living in. I needed to do a rant about it. Unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. I mean, you can always find content if you cover this stuff and your brain works the way the mind works, and some people out there don't like how my brain works. Hey, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to agree with everything that I say. Never said you did, but can't argue what you're seeing here. You can't look at that trailer and tell me that, wow, that was a great idea. I don't care if you're a lib, you're a teen out there. You see that trailer and you tell me that plot about a woman who has a kid, then all of a sudden feels loneliness, hates being a mom, feels stuck at home, turns into a dog. Oh, is that the name of the movie? Because that's what they should call it. Just call it, oh, that'd be a much better name for it, right? Or just call it, what is it called? It's called Nightb. Just call it Night Turd, because the script itself is nothing more than a heaping pile of poop, right? But of course, it gets made, and people should look at it and go, yeah, all right, there's something here. Because this shouldn't even be a movie. And why is Amy Adams in it? And how did this woman just write this horrible book and it get promoted by Hollywood? Well, because they could take that script and they could put in all those undertones like shaming women as being moms. And of course, don't forget about that cannibalism, right? Right on the cover, showing the meat, right? They're not talking about going and cooking a steak. They're showing you raw meat. And they're showing her eating raw meat. They weren't showing her cooking a steak on the grill. They showed her running in her lawn like a dog, transforming, right? It's pretty incredible. This is the new propaganda. This is the new communist propaganda 2024. That's what it looks like right there. They take ridiculous plots and they fill it with communist manifesto propaganda. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.